So, my name is Brandy, and I'm kicking off my new YouTube channel. Now, this is not the way that I wanted to do this. However, I can't wait till the perfect time when I learn how to edit a video or get a circle light or decide to get my tripod out of my back seat. So, I just wanted to be authentic as possible and post my first video. This is a video that I wanted to make maybe like 4 days ago, but circumstances kept changing. And so now I'm here with you today at the end of this episode that we've had. And I guess I'll just jump into it. This channel will be for just topics about being a mom, interviews with other moms, sharing similar experiences, just to vent and let people know that, you're not the only person that goes through these things and we're not afraid to talk about it. So, without any further ado, we'll talk about COVID 19 and COVID 19 in children. So, I'm going to try to go through the timeline of everything that happens. Bear with me, I do have notes to try to stay on topic as best as possible. So, uh, let's see. On the 31st of December, my 10-month-old woke up with a temperature of 103 degrees. Super scary. She's never had a fever that high. I don't think she's ever even had a fever. Now, before that, she had been sick one time. She started daycare in October. And when you start daycare, my pediatrician informed me, as well as many other mothers, that they get sick. It's just from being around other kids. These at that age, they put everything in their mouths. The teachers have to be on top of them so that they can wash their hands for them. And so I was kind of prepared for that. I didn't want to accept it, but I was prepared for it. So after a month of being in daycare, she got sick for the first time, which was a terrible experience. You hate to see your kids sick. I know how it feels to be sick. So seeing her like that, not being able to communicate to me how she feels, was very difficult. So we get through that. With that and going to daycare wanted for her to take a COVID test, or to ask my pediatrician what they thought. So we went ahead and got it done, and she was negative. So fast forward to December 31st, woke up at 3 a.m. with 103-degree temperature. Super scary. She's warm. She's kind of lethargic. She's not crying or anything. But since we had an appointment to get a booster for her flu shot that day, I was just like, I'll just ask when we go into the office. By the time we went to the doctor's appointment at 9 a.m., her temperature had decreased a little bit. And so the appointment went from a flu booster vaccine to does she have COVID? So I gave them the symptoms, elevated temperature out of the blue. Um, and by 9 o'clock, she had had three uh, poop diapers, so diarrhea. So I guess those are two of the telltale signs for babies or young children that they may have COVID. So they went ahead and did the test, didn't do the flu vaccine. We went on about our business. So stop by Target on the way home. At Target, I'm checking out and I get a phone call, and the phone call is to tell me that my child, my 10-month-old, has COVID. As you can imagine, my heart dropped because it's like, okay, me and my husband had came to the realization that, it seems like at some point everybody is going to get it, is how it sounds, watching the news. And, we do everything possible to keep ourselves healthy and to stay in our bubble and to not go anywhere, because we legitimately really don't go anywhere. We both work from home. The only people we're around are my parents and my mother-in-law, and they don't really go anywhere. On Christmas, we were around some extended family for maybe 10 minutes. And then there's daycare. So that is who we are around. I even have people that are upset with me that they haven't met my daughter at 10 months old. And that just is what it is at this point. Just because, again, we're being cautious. So they call me on the phone. They tell me she has COVID. So, I have all these questions like, okay, so what does that mean? What do I do? So they just told me, monitor symptoms, and she needs to quarantine until January 10th. And that we meaning our immediate household, my husband, my stepson, and myself, needed to quarantine for 2 weeks or 14 days after January 10th. Now, in my mind, I don't understand why, like, they didn't explain to me like why we had to, and there were so many thoughts going through my mind that I didn't have my questions together, and I felt like almost like I was being rushed off the phone. So I got off the phone and called my parents, let them know. My husband called his mother, let her know. Um, Based on them, and then the doctor also said that anybody that had been around her needed to reach out to their own doctors to ask if they had any other questions. And I also go to say that they informed us that she had been most contagious the 2 days prior to her exhibiting symptoms. So that would mean she had symptoms on the 31st. That means she was most contagious on the 30th and the 29th, meaning that she most likely contracted it or came in contact with the coronavirus or COVID-19 a week before, when she was either at daycare or around any of those people that I mentioned. But again, the extended family we spoke to, they none of them had been exposed to it to their knowledge. Um, as the days went on, me and my husband got tested. She was tested on Thursday. Him and I got tested on Tuesday. We were both negative. My parents tested negative. His mother tested negative. So she was the only person that tested positive. So, in addition to that, after my appointments, I typically get an aftercare summary. This time I didn't get that. So I thought that was strange, considering that, COVID-19 is something that people don't have a whole lot of knowledge about. And I feel like it's a moving target in knowing what you're supposed to do, not supposed to do when you find out you have it. And so it was just really frustrating. So they sent me a survey, and in the survey I mentioned, like, I get aftercare summaries for ear infections and some of everything else, and I didn't get one for this, and I don't understand why. So on Monday I did get that information from them. It was a little clearer. We did speak to the pediatrician again, and they were clear, confirmed that our household, our immediate household, myself, my husband, my stepson, quarantine 14 days from the 10th, but she's good to go. Like, she can go back to daycare on the 10th. My parents, mother-in-law only need to quarantine until the 10th with her because they're not around her all the time. So that's out the way. So now let's see. She's diagnosed on the 31st, had symptoms up until 10 o'clock in the morning that day, didn't have any other symptoms. I mean, up playing, clapping her hands, everything. We're working from home with a 10-month-old. So last week was a struggle. I haven't gotten much sleep. And so again, I was going to do the video, and we got through it. This is what happened until this past Thursday, where I want to say it was about 8 o'clock at night on Thursday the 7th, where her temperature shot up again. Her temperature went to 102, just kind of out of nowhere. So she's burning up, she's miserable. So, we give her a little bit of Tylenol, and about 3 a.m., her temperature is now 103. We call the nurses line at the hospital, let them know what's going on. So I bring her into the emergency room, and I say it's probably one of the scariest car rides I've ever had, just kind of thinking through all the scenarios. And they say, like, young kids, I guess, fare a little bit better, but depending on what you read, they talk about how babies under 1, it can be really damaging, and it can, worst case, I didn't want to think about the worst case scenario. So I tried to talk myself down off of that in my car ride. As you can only have one person with you in the emergency room. So we get there, and they pretty much tell me there's nothing that they can do, and that I just needed to monitor her symptoms, monitor her breathing, make sure she isn't struggling to breathe, like where her ribs are showing or her stomach is bulging, like just associating the fever with breathing issues, and making sure her lips don't turn blue. And so taking all this in at 3 a.m., I'm like, okay, got it. So we go home and start, alternating Motrin and Tylenol, that for the rest of the day that day. So that was at 3 a.m. on Friday. So then by 6 p.m. on Friday evening, temperature was back up to 104. I mean, she was miserable all day, like hot to the touch, sleeping off and on, not eating. So I'm just trying to nurse her. I'm giving her Pedialyte. She doesn't want that. And I will say, when I gave her the Motrin for the first time, I nursed her after that, and she spit it all back up. So, it's just a defeating feeling as a parent to know you don't know what's wrong. They can't tell you what's wrong, and they're miserable. And that's not her. She's a happy baby. She's clapping, playing all the time. And that's what was strange too, was that when her temperature would go down, she would kind of perk back up and want to play and everything, and then be knocked back down again. And they told us that with COVID-19, you can the symptoms can go in waves. So it's not like the flu where it's kind of a progression, and the temperature kind of goes away, or the fever goes away. It can pop up on you, and you just kind of have to roll with it. So again, the 31st, 10 o'clock in the morning, all the way to Thursday night, there were no symptoms at all. Nothing. It was just us having a quarantine out of caution, before she went back to daycare. So, I've been to the emergency room twice at this point. Well, we went back on Friday night. So they tell me the same thing. They're like, not much we can do. Keep track of the breathing, keep track of making sure her lips don't turn blue. And then they did a catheter to see if maybe she had a urinary tract infection or something else was causing the fever. So, go home again. Again, I am tired. I have been to the emergency room twice. I want to say we stayed 2 hours each time. I'm not sleeping because she's not sleeping. When she's waking up, she's upset. She's sweating. So, yeah, it's just been a really long couple days, but she has not had another fever since right now it is Sunday, around 5 o'clock. So she hasn't had a fever since 6 a.m. on Friday. No, 6 a.m. on Saturday. So it's been over 24 hours, with nothing. And so, they said that usually everything runs its course in 10 days. So we're hoping that's the case. Um, and I just say, be careful. Um, it can happen to anybody. Family member, like, you don't know who people are around at the end of the day. Unfortunately, I can't not utilize daycare. I personally and my husband, we have a hard time working from home when she's here. My mother works. Um, and my father helps out. They both help us out when we need them. But having a 10-month-old full time is a full time job. Like, and it really doesn't leave room for anything else. And I commend anybody who is able to do that. You are a super rock star, and I wish I could be you. So we are planning to send her back, especially with 48 hours without a fever at all. So yeah, so that's our story. Again, I just wanted to share it because I know there's somebody else out there that may have been through this. I just say, stay strong, stay positive. We've stayed positive and prayed up. Thank you to all the family members and friends who have reached out to see if we needed anything. We're good over here. Now she's up and playing and into everything. So we're hoping this is the end of it. And yeah, just be safe, be careful. My objective with this YouTube channel is to just share experiences about being a mother, maybe like breastfeeding, baby food. I do all of that stuff. So just having open conversations with other moms, being a first time mom in 2020 with COVID-19 and not being able to be around your family and just having to, roll with the punches and adjust to this a different way is just, it's a moving target all the time. But we are blessed to have gotten through this sickness, I hope. And again, I just say it to say that a lot of people don't talk about these experiences, but I wanted to share mine with you. And that even though it was really scary, again, we're to the end of it. I truly believe, and that she's okay now. So I'm open to answer any questions that anybody might have. I'm sorry that this became a little bit long-winded. And yeah, just appreciate your support. Make sure to subscribe for more videos. And my thing in 2021 is to be consistent. And even though I don't have everything perfect right now, it's something that I do want to perfect, that I will perfect. And so I'm holding myself to do a video once a month on the 10th of every month. So January 10th, first video about COVID-19 and my baby. Um, and next month will be the next one. So thank you again. Hopefully this answered questions from my cryptic Facebook post. I know people hate those. It's like, well, what's going on? So now you know. All right. Well, good night, and you all have a wonderful week.